Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'm here to attempt to do a tutorial on how I make my boxes, what formula I use, whatever. I got a comment on YouTube that said, why do you always do the same exact box in just different measurements? Well, because it is easy. Right? Why reinvent the wheel when it's already round? That's just my way of looking at it. There are other YouTubers that, you're more than welcome to watch that do their boxes a little bit different every single time. For me, my brain doesn't work like that. I have ADD. Repetition and routine works the best for me. I can knock these boxes out, quickly. I had one of my friends call me, was like, hey, I need a box this measurement in the next 5 minutes. Boom, I can knock it out for you. So if I change up my style and my quote-unquote formula, it's super hard and I get very frustrated very easily. I get very distracted very easily. So I need to do what is cool with me. So that's why. I know some other YouTubers, they like to do their boxes to where one flap folds this way and the other flap will fold this way. If I'm watching them do it, I can wrap my brain around it, but if I'm doing it myself, I cannot wrap my brain around it. Okay? And what that means is that, here we go, let me show you on this toss away paper. I'll show you what they do and then I'll show you what I do. To get a box that has that Z flap thing, it's like, okay, you got to cut here for one thing, and then you have to like skip something and cut here, and then you have to cut like this in half and then this one in half, and then you do the opposite on this side. So except for like you cut those, and then you're gonna cut this one and you're gonna do this and something like that, right? That is just too much for my brain to process. Okay, I can't, right? If I'm looking at their tutorial and their thing, I can do it. I just can't do it on my own. For me, what is super easy, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Cut those. Same thing on the top, same thing on the bottom. Cut this, cut this in half, miter, cut this in half, miter. Boom, same thing. Cut up, cut, miter. Don't need that. Boom. Corner round. That is super easy in my brain. A clean playbook. What you're doing on top, you're doing on bottom. Repetition. Right? Those of us who have adult ADD or ADHD, that's what we need to make life make sense. Okay? So that's why I do the same. Anyway, so I'm going to show you start to finish on how I figure out the box. This one, I'm not going to lie, I was distracted. I have 3 conversations going on my phone. It is after midnight and I have the Golden Girls on. So I mismeasured twice. So there you go. I wasn't going to do a video on this, but I just wanted to kind of respond to that comment. And then I'm going to show you my formula. Okay. So here's my formula. We're making a box, in case I forgot to tell you, for this E6000. I can't remember if I told you, so I'm going to tell you again. Comes in a 3-pack from Walmart or Home Depot. I don't remember where I got it. It's inexpensive. This is what I want to do. It's a little bit thinner than a chapstick and a little bit longer, I want to say. So I got to find my own box. This piece is 3 by 1 by 3/4. Okay, this is the size. I always write down the size of my object. And yes, I like to walk around Dollar Tree and find random stuff, you know, random stuff to put boxes in. Okay, size of object. That's what I start with. Now, my formula is the same. I know I'm going to need to do certain things. Okay, let me see if I can explain this. I've done this video probably 5 times now because it is hard for me to explain each step out because I just do it. So when you have your item, right, you need to start with your right hand side with your object. Okay, so I need to cover the right hand side. Now I know that that's going to be my 3/4 inch width, so I'm just going to draw a rectangle. I know this is going to be a rectangle because it's rectangular, so I'm going to go 3/4. Okay, so now I've covered my left hand side. Now I need to cover my top. My top, because I measured it this way, I need it to be about 1 inch. Now 1 inch is a little bit too big, but I'm not going to sit here and math 7/8. 7/8 would have been perfect. I'm not doing that. So I just did mine as 1 inch. Okay. So my top of my box is 1 inch, right? Now I need to cover my right side. So my right side again is the same as my left. It's 3/4 inch, right? So now I'm covering my right side. Now I need to cover my back. So that's 1 inch. Okay, so now I have 3 sides covered, but it's not attached. So I need one more box that's going to attach the back to the left side. Okay, typically mine is going to be the same exact measurement as the left hand side. This time I'm making it slightly smaller because I want to get 4 boxes out of the same sheet of paper. So this is my flap is going to be slightly smaller. Alright, and to be honest, when I do it not explaining, I just go for it. That's how mine usually looks. A little sloppy. And then I know this, that's usually how mine looks, and then I write in my measurements, but I'm gonna do it nice for you guys. Alright, so I already know that. Now you can go ahead and math that now, or you can just kind of wait. I kind of wait because I need to see it in full box format. And so I know right now your box doesn't have a flap, doesn't have 2 flaps or a top. It's just an open box. So we need to cover that opening, right? So your next measurement on top and bottom are going to be whatever your left measurement is. Okay, it's always going to be that for this here. Always. Because you need to cover that gap. Now, your next measurement is this little piece right here. It's your flap. Majority of the time, mine is a 1/2 inch. You can make that the same measurement as this flap if you want. You can make it longer. I don't think it needs to be longer. You only need a little bit so you could tuck it in. So I do 1/2 inch. So that's my formula. Okay. Now to math it, you're going to math these numbers here. And so you can, you know, just do all your math. You can cheat, put it in your phone, whatever you need to do. I'll just cheat and show you in my phone. I typically do the math in my head, but right now I think I already have it up. So you're going to do these here. So you're going to do 3/4 plus 1 plus 3/4, right, plus 1 plus a half equals. Oh, I typed it wrong. This is why I don't use a calculator, because I type it wrong. I usually use my other calculator. But anyway, this measurement here is 4. Okay? So 1, 2, 3, 3¼ 4. Yeah, that's 4. Okay? Now, for your other measurement, so now we're going to do our length, right? So we know our length is 3 inches. So we need to start with that. So that's going to be 3 plus something. Okay? Forget about all these numbers in here. We're just worried about the length. So we added a 1/2 inch. So check that. We added 3/4 inch. Right? We added another 3/4 inch. And we added a 1/2. So now you're just gonna add that up. So 3, 4, 5.5. So it should be 575. I might be mathing wrong. Hold on. Let me double check my math. Yeah, I math wrong. 5.5. My bad. So this is your paper measurement. 4 by 5.5. Okay? So now you can get 4 boxes out of 1 sheet of paper. How great is that? Okay. So that's how I know what paper. Now, the scoring part, that's going to be a little bit different. So, of course. Okay, so let's go ahead and cut our paper. So, I'm going to do my 5.5 cut first, because I just know that's going to cut the paper in half. And then 4. Okay? So, this is how I do my measurements. Usually I don't cross all this out so I can see it, but it's fine. I know if I rotate my paper this way, then I know this is where I need to make these score marks to make the tops and the bottoms, right? Now, I know because I have my arrow that this way was the long side, right? Because I arrow down, that's my math, that's the long side. So I know on the long side, that I need to make my marks. That's how I sort it out in my head. Sometimes I get it backwards. That's why you do it on a piece of scratch or, you know, cheap cardstock first. But this is how I figure it out. I rotate my paper and just do my measurements, okay? And I know that this way is the long side. So I need to go ahead and do a 1/2 inch, right? Actually, I'll do it on this side so you can see it. I know I need a 1/2 inch. That's an easy measurement, right? So 1/2 inch. Now I know I need that extra 3/4 inch. So I'm just going to move over on my board 3/4. So that's 1, 2, 3. That is 1¼ So I'm going to write that down. So my long side, I need 1/2 and 1¼ You need that on both sides. So 1/2 inch and 1¼ If I'm using my scoreboard, I will do the same thing, but it will look like this. Still the long side. I'm going to score it at 1/2 inch and 1¼ I'm going to come here and I'm going to score it from a 1/2 inch from this side. So I know my paper's 5.5, so I'm going to score it at 5, and then I'm just going to move over 3/4. So it'd be 4 1/4 and 5. So 1/2 inch, 1 1/4, 4 1/4, and 5. Or you can just rotate it 1/2 inch, 1 1/4, 1/2 inch, 1 1/4. Whichever way is easy for you. For me, it doesn't matter. I do both. Most people prefer for me to do the same measurement and rotate and do the same measurement, so I've been doing my videos towards that. Me personally, I prefer to go all the way out, but it doesn't matter. So 1/2 and 1 1/4. Alright, so I know that. Now, we're back to rotating our paper this way on the short side, because we know now we need all these measurements on the short side, right? So I need to start with 3/4 of an inch on the short side. So I'm just going to write that down. Short side, 3/4. Okay? Let me see if I have one that's a little bit cleaner so you can see this. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so all I'm doing is making it so you can see it a little cleaner. 3/4, 1, and then 1/2. Alright, so short side. You see how I'm ignoring these top measurements because I already did those top measurements. I'm working on the short side. I know I need 3/4 of an inch, so I wrote that down, 3/4, right? Now, from that 3/4 of an inch, I need a 1 inch. You can math that. That's an easy math right there. 3/4 plus 1 is 1 3/4. Or you can just simply move it over, 1 inch. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 1 3/4. Okay. Now from that 1 inch line, well, first I'm going to write that down. From that 1 inch box, I need another 3/4 of an inch, right? So I'm just going to move it over 3. 1, 2, 3. That becomes 2.5. Okay. So from that, I know I need 1 more inch. 2.5 plus 1 inch is easy. That's 3.5. Or you're just gonna, move it over 1, 2, 3, 4 spots. Okay. And that's it. So 2.5 and 3.5. So you can write down as you go along, or when you're done, take your handy dandy ruler and measure your whatchacalls, 3/4, 1 3/4, 2.5, 3.5. Okay, so either way, that's how I do it. Typically, I just score it all out and then I measure with the ruler, just because for me that's quicker. But I want to show you guys, in this chaos, how it becomes beauty. Now you're cutting, because this is repetition. Your cutting is gonna be the same. For me, I like to put wherever you scored for your your extra top and bottom flaps, that's what I put on top and bottom. Whatever your flap is gonna be, so you're 1/2 inch on top and 1/2 inch on bottom, that's my starting position. Okay. So in this case, because I have this shorter flap, I want that shorter flap to be on the right. Most of the boxes I make, like I said, this measurement is going to be the same exact as this measurement, but in this case I want it to fit more on a page, so I just shortened my flap. Okay, and you'll see that in just a second. Yeah. Okay, so again, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that, I don't need that. Big scissors. And cut those 4 boxes right on off. And I need smaller scissors. I don't know what to do with them. Oh, here they are. Okay. Cut those 4 boxes off. What we're doing to the top, we are doing to the bottom. Easy stuff. Okay. I know I need to miter my flap. Like so. Okay. I need to go ahead and cut up this score line. I need to cut up this score line. I don't like my flaps to touch each other. It's like the siblings in the back seat. Don't stop touching each other. That's what it is for me. So I like to cut off roughly half and miter. If you want your flaps to overlap right here, then all you have to do is cut off the first 1/2 inch box. And you can have you a long flap. I don't like that. So I'm going to cut that off and miter. Okay. You're going to either round your corners or you're going to miter. I like the look of rounded corners as opposed to mitered, just because if I miter it wrong, then it's uneven and I don't like it. So I round my corners. I think it just gives it a little extra flair. This one I did not cut very well. Alright, so I'm going to round that corner. And then whatever we did to the top, we're going to do to the bottom, vice versa. We're going to cut up the score line. I'm cutting off half. I'm mitering. I don't measure. If you guys are precise, you can take your ruler and measure exactly how much to cut off, but I don't care. And that. And here we go. And here we go. Right. Clean up your mess. Yep, this part is the same as always. Repetition. I had a French teacher that always wanted us to repeat after her. Repeat and respond. And she would jump on the desk and say, répétez, répondez, répétez, répondez, répétez, répondez. So every time I say repetition, I just think of that story. And I do sing that song because ADD brain, you can't just be doing one thing. You have to be focused on 5 things at once. So, répétez, répondez. There we go. Right, put your box back to starting position. Now this is where how you close your box. You can obviously close it like this. You can go like this, go like this. You can, it doesn't matter how you close it. What I have been doing lately is flipping it over. Yeah, so starting position, I don't know. I've been flipping it so the starting position is on the left, and then I flip this down and then glue it like that. It doesn't matter which side. I don't know. It's whatever you're comfortable with. I do it differently, I think, every time. It's hard to explain, but just get it down and make sure it's lined up. Okay? That's it. I like to make sure my box is flat, so I know that when I'm decorating it's flat. But guess what? I remembered to do my finger pull. Now I don't even know where my punch is. So the bigger boxes are very forgiving, and you can shove your punch in there. But these little boxes, obviously, it's too small, and so you can't shove your punch in there. So if you don't remember to do your finger pull now, all you have to do is take your scissors when it's all put together and just kind of make, as best as you can, a little chunk out of it. It's not as clean or as straight, but it does its job. Okay. I think I had it. Yeah, this one I did too. I had to cut it with scissors because I forgot. But if you remember, it's so much cleaner. You can even do your box this way, but sometimes when I bring the flap on top, or if I bring the side on top of the flap, sometimes it goes over the score line. So just whatever is comfortable to you. Get that box together. I know I probably just made it more complicated than what it needs to be, but this brain is complicated, I tell you. See, I'm just making sure it's lined up. Nothing's going over the score line. My box is flat, completely flat. See? There you go. Make sure my flap works, which it does. Where's my product? Put my little glue in there. Actually, I'm going to put it this way. Make sure my flap fits in there. Sometimes you don't cut your score line completely off, and it's a little bit, it wants to fight you going in. So you're just going to take your scissors and cut off the tiniest little sliver off the side, and then it will work just fine. So there you have it. And now I'm going to go ahead and decorate my box. Just depending on my mood. Sometimes I'll decorate it while the box is put together. Sometimes I'll go ahead and flatten it out. It just depends on my mood. So there you go. That's my formula. That's my repetition. Every box that you see from me is either going to be this style formula or, you know, your regular box, your lidded box, which you're just going to be like, oh, okay, I need a box that's, I don't know, 4 by 6. So 4 width by 6, which is length. I needed 2 inches on all 4 sides. So you're making a lidded box. Let's see if I have a lidded box right here. I do. We're making a lidded box like this. Okay. So this is what you know. This is your base. This is how I math it out. I write my arrows so I know this is the length, or the width actually, and this is the length. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 by 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, scored at 2 on all 4 sides. Okay, that's it. Now to make my lid, you just need it 1 tick mark bigger. So your lid is gonna be 8 1/16 by 10 1/16, scored 2 inches on all 4 sides. That's it. And then you're going to cut it out just like you do a box, and you're going to put it together. You cut your tabs and you glue them in there. This is where you're going to cut here, 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 here. This your tabs. That's it. Repetition. Easy crafter, easy. So hopefully that helped you or completely confused you, but let you know how my crazy brain works. You walked in a mile of my shoes. And yeah, if you need a box, let me know. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Bye.